So we walk in the door, and you know me, I'm chit-chatting them up about whatever, flipping on lights. And as we enter in, you enter in, and then you enter into the living room. As we enter into the living room, he stopped.
The husband?
The husband. And he says, did somebody die here? And I said, somebody did die here. And you know what he said to me?
No.
Dude's in the corner.
No.
He said that the man.
I just got chills.
I know.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm Stephanie Zalowski here with
Cameron Barbier.
She's back.
Yay.
Gone for a couple weeks. You're feeling better?
Still not.
Remains to be seen. Okay, great. Today, I'm very excited about this guest. We have Valerie Zatt with us.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. I miss you.
I know.
So we met Valerie back in our Sotheby's days and became very close friends when we did that deal together on Bayside Walk.
Yes.
If you recall. That was
a little interesting.
It was interesting. I feel like the stories could go on forever, but we don't have forever. So, we'll get to it. Valerie is an agent with her very own brokerage Compass. She's been in the business since 2002. Not to age you or anything, but you look damn good for your age. She's a beautiful mom to 3 children and a force in the business and a pleasure to do deals with.
Thank you. You're so
Valerie,
sweet.
welcome to Behind the Lockbox.
I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. Like, I kind of texted her last week. I'm like, so we've decided to record next week. Do you want to do the podcast? She's like, okay.
I wanted to come. I was actually feeling jealous that I had to get on sooner.
You've been on my list. And it's so funny because like, I feel like sometimes I bug people when I'm like, hey, do you want to come on the, and they're like, I've been wanting to come on for like months. I'm like, oh my God, why didn't you tell me? Like, anyway. Also, we just got these mic boxes. Do you guys love?
They look so good.
We are legit.
Official.
Legit to quit. Exactly. Okay. You came in and I was like, first of all, again, we're going to have to do a part 2 and a part 3 because I know you've got stories.
Beyond.
But hit us with the first one because you started to tell us everything and Cam and I were like, stop telling it. Like, we just want to be. So go ahead.
So I had a property on the bay. Mm-hmm. It's kind of famous.
And you do a ton of business down there, by the way.
I do a ton of business. It's definitely where I started in 2002. I worked with a developer.
Okay.
So
You had a bunch of stuff going on down there. Yeah.
Got tied in, really built my business in Mission Beach.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an awesome property. Funny enough, I actually worked for this guy at his house in college.
No way.
I was his like personal assistant at home. I would have pick up his groceries, his dry cleaning, let the housekeeper in. Got my broker's license, went back and said, hey, can I list your house? Yeah. And he let me list it. So kind of, he's like
full circle.
Yeah, full circle. But he was also like, oh my gosh, this is very strange that you're going to broker my house.
You're like, I got this.
You're like, you owe me.
Yeah.
So it was built in the 70s by a guy who built 2 duplexes.
Okay.
And underneath had a shared grotto.
Okay. So grotto, not garage.
Grotto. So you went down, it had a theater, a bar.
How cool.
Full, like, giant 20,000 bottle. I mean, huge. It took up the whole wall. Wine cellar.
Wow.
And then
They could do that by the bay?
they did it by the bay. Isn't that crazy?
You would never get away with that now with coastal
Because
commission.
it's plus or minus 7. No, because you need clearance now, and you can't build high enough to get the clearance
to go down. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 2 condos side by side, and then underneath was built as a common space. Mm-hmm. And the guy that came
and he owned both.
So he only owned one, but when it was built. So this was a common space.
Okay.
He eventually, owners down the way, locked out one of the units. So my client owned it specifically.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
It was done by the people. It was done after the Playboy Mansion. So it was like very.
They modeled it after that.
Just like that. But they got the guys from Pirates of the Caribbean, Disney guys to come in and do it. It was legit. Like this place was legit. Waterfalls. It was
Do you have
awesome.
photos of it?
I'm sure that I do.
Okay, if we can find any, we'll drop them on the YouTube. But like, that's
Wait,
amazing.
the whole condo was like that, or just the bottom part?
Just the bottom grotto.
Oh, how cool!
The upstairs part was very like 90s contemporary silver couches. It was like it was a whole vibe. The
Silver
bed,
couches.
The bed, you could press the bed, it would rotate.
Shut up.
Yes.
Austin Powers.
Yes.
Oh my God, please tell me. I hope it's still like that. Probably not.
I don't know. A guy from Rancho Santa Fe bought it, so I'm not sure.
Well, you never know. Anyway.
But it was, I mean, we could do 7 podcasts just on this house.
On this house. Wow.
Just on this house.
Wow.
But one thing in particular was when I had a neighbor who desperately wanted to buy it.
Okay.
He was like in his mid 40s from an established family on the bay. His dad was a developer on the bay.
Okay.
His brother really made something of himself. Unfortunately,
Sounds
this
like
guy
a great. Oh, maybe
didn't
not.
have the same whereabouts
To make something of himself, basically. He
didn't.
Kind of living off his dad.
So he came in a couple of times with his brother
Okay.
as his like co-investor to buy. And because of the brother, it was a legitimate offer.
Okay.
It was never high enough.
Was the brother like willing to like help him
Yes.
out and like co-sign
yes.
and like, okay.
The
that's
brother
nice.
was like, okay, I'll put you in kind of as a renter. But they co-signed. They
Okay.
were on it together. So he was legit. He legitimately
wanted it.
wanted it.
Okay.
2 or 3 times put an offer, never high enough. My seller was never, really wanted to entertain his offers. So, of course, I was the listing agent. So what happens when you're a listing agent? You are in charge of the property because my client lived in Rancho Santa Fe.
Sure.
So the alarm went off. Somebody needed to get in, whatever it was.
You're running over there.
I was the call.
Yeah.
So the alarm goes off. I get a call from the alarm company. The alarm's going off. It's like, okay, no big deal. False alarms all the time. I said, I'll make my way over.
Is this daytime, nighttime?
This is during the day.
Okay.
It was like on a Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'll head over there. I wasn't.
We'll see what's going on.
Yeah. I figured it was
you didn't feel
tripped.
Right.
No, had this like mega metal door. So I felt like
You can't really just like bust through it.
no.
Right.
I felt okay about it. So on the way there, I get a call from the cops who have my phone number.
Oh no.
Hi, are you
The
Valerie
owner or whatever. Yeah.
No, I'm the listing agent. Okay, well, we're here with the owner. And I was like, okay, listen, I'm on my way. I'm close by. So I roll up to the property and the whole front. So it was a metal door. And then you had 2 glass panels. And one of the glass panels is completely broken.
Oh shit.
And on the inside of the house, naked, is
that wanted to buy the
it.
house.
Yeah, I shouldn't tell you what his name is.
So
Yes.
that's okay. We can bleep it out.
Yeah.
So
not the owner.
Not
They
the
were-
owner.
Not the owner. Now, he was pretty sure that day that he was the owner.
Oh no.
And he was naked and bloody because when he broke through with a rock, he climbed through.
And are these panels like as wide as you're tiny? Like they're
probably yeah,
like
this.
you could probably
like little
slide
side
through on the side.
if it was open, not full of glass.
Wait, but why is he naked?
No idea. He's having.
Oh
like,
yeah, great question. Why is he naked?
No idea. But
Was he
he's
like
naked.
the clothes are holding me back? If I get naked, I can fit through the broken glass.
No idea. No idea. I mean, I saw way more than I need to
I
see.
was just gonna say,
no
were you, like-
underwear, like
No underwear.
everything
Naked,
hanging out.
Naked, very tall man. Like kind of a tall, large, skinny man.
And this is broad daylight.
Broad daylight. But honestly, like even recalling the story, that wasn't even the whole thing. The whole thing was that he was inside the house, refusing to come out, trying to get me to tell the cops that he was the owner.
Did you have any inkling previous that
No.
he was like maybe mentally ill?
No. Nope.
Totally normal
Totally normal.
until this day.
Till this day.
Was
So
he drunk?
I think it must have been either
On
having some sort of
something.
like mental issue. His brother, following up on that, sent me a letter and said he was really sorry. I did a couple times see Brad on the bay. Actually, I think he still lives on the bay. And I would just
Where?
and I just kind of was like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've
you.
seen,
He's like,
I've
Valerie?
seen
You're
all
like, no.
of this.
It's not me. My name is Stephanie. I don't. It's not me. It's not me.
Exactly. No.
That's wild.
Yes.
Naked and bloody.
So what the
Naked
cops
and
do? They
bloody.
take him.
They ended up taking him away. I obviously gained access to
Yeah.
the property.
Yeah.
And they were able to go in and
And you were like,
handcuff
he
him.
doesn't own it.
He doesn't own it. It was so sad though, because he was like, Valerie, tell him it's mine. I'm like, Brad, you don't own this
and obviously you
place.
know him, and the cops are like, "What's going on?" You're like,
Yes.
It,
He
was
lives down
this
the street.
while he submitted the offer? Was it like in
No,
a?
we had rejected it like 3 or 4 weeks prior. So maybe in his head he was in a dream. Woke
Maybe he
up.
was sleepwalking.
But
wait,
the
but it was
thing
middle of the
is,
day.
How long was he
There.
thinking of doing this?
Oh, right.
That he
Yeah.
like that is
Right.
the whole thing was this super
Right.
creepy.
or did he literally just have a mental breakdown and just I don't know?
Decided he was I
live
think
there.
actually I
I
think
think I live there.
he said I got locked out.
Oh,
I remember now that he
That's
said
why he
got
broke
locked
in
out.
naked.
Yes, naked.
Oh,
He got
his
locked out.
clothes are inside.
so he
Yes.
has to get in ASAP.
Wow. So did you ever like after that? did you see him again for a while, or not until you like randomly saw him?
I randomly saw him. I never saw him again. We just kind of moved on from that. Yeah, we just kind of moved on.
They were like, okay, it's time to check you into
something. The brother called and told me he was really sorry. So the guy that ended up buying it was this much older man.
Okay.
I think it was about 30 at the time.
Okay.
And he is from Rancho Santa Fe.
Okay.
And his wife was probably 40.
Okay.
She was young. She was closer to age to me. I was pregnant at the time that this guy was coming in to buy it, this like 75-year-old man, apparently very prominent in Rancho Santa Fe.
Okay.
And so he was an attorney. I was a little, I represented him and the buyer and the seller. So
great. So you were basically... So you were able, that buyer then came in and you were able to double end it. Okay.
So I put him into escrow.
Yeah.
And we close escrow. And after you close escrow, you usually call and say, hey, how's it going over there?
Yeah.
He didn't return any of my phone calls. I would call his secretary, leave him a message. That's kind of how I communicated with him during the deal.
Nothing.
And we had kind of a long escrow. We had a couple of issues with the house. And so I was just shocked. I was actually thinking, that's weird.
Yeah.
So I lived on the bay.
Yeah.
After the incident, I still lived on the bay. And so I was very pregnant at this time, like 7 months pregnant with my first son. And I was walking and I saw him. And I was with my sister. We were walking and I walked up to him and said, good to see you. How's it going? By this time it had been 5 or 6 months.
You're like, I've been trying to reach you.
And he said,
no,
my wife thinks that we're having an affair. My sister was drinking water.
Spit it out.
We're talking like...
You're like, oh, this is your baby. Like, didn't you know? Should I go tell her this is... What?
75-year-old man. I'm like 29 or 30, maybe. The wife, who obviously was 40 and not his first wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure,
and there was a lot of money involved.
Sure.
Has convinced herself that he and I, because I call him on the phone to talk to him about a deal...
must be having an affair.
He's like, you can never call me again. What? Every time you call me, it caused such a disruption. You can never call me again. So I often will flip through like those magazines, the ones that come, and they're like at all these galas and he's still married to her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's not letting go of that.
But
should we go run into her and him at a gala?
You know what it taught me? It really taught me that when you're in a situation, often I'll be in a situation like this where it's the husband's money. It's a new relationship.
Right.
And the wife already feels kind of insecure or inferior at some level.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I always communicate with both of them.
Yes.
Until one of them says, go ahead and call my husband.
Right. Or go ahead and just communicate with my wife or whatever.
Sometimes the husband will say, don't copy her on information.
Yeah.
So it did teach me early on, like, oh my gosh.
But it's kind of funny
really
because
good
you were
lesson.
going through the secretary and stuff. So it wasn't like you were,
No. I mean, I would have to call him and give him updates, and I was his agent.
Right.
I know.
People are weird, man. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Like, I'm sorry, just because you're with a 75-year-old man.
Doesn't mean I want to be with a 75-year-old man.
Yeah, you're
Thank
like,
you
wait a
very
second.
much. My husband is real
Not
hot.
my type.
And,
He is my age.
Wow. I know. I mean, it's insane. I'm glad you brought that up though, because that is definitely, I usually always try, or sometimes when you've only been introduced to one, I mean, I've even had it where I wanted to really communicate with her more because I just liked her more. Right. And he made it very clear. And it was just like, I couldn't even like reach out and send them like a text and like it was just like always him. And I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. But
but you look, and I look even beyond the signals that they give me to, hey, it's almost something that I do, whether it's a buyer or seller now. I just say, who is my primary line of communication?
Yeah. And it's okay to ask that. And I think that that's a really good like lesson for, all of us in the business to kind of be like, okay, like let's just not make assumptions of who we're going to communicate with or whatever. Because again, that's the kind of stuff that
I also think being a female, right?
Yeah.
If you're with these people that have a lot of money, there's insecurities with other people. I mean, taught me a good lesson.
Edie Ravelli was on a few weeks ago. I don't know if you heard that episode.
I did it.
And she literally, the husband sent her an email, put it in writing. And he was like, I want to have an affair with you. And she was like, what? like she had to just like, they got divorced and her, I was like, what happened to they're like, they got divorced. They're no longer together. And we were like, well, obviously, but like, it's wild.
It's wild.
It's wild.
It's wild. You really are in people's whole life.
100%.
You're in their house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or
It's
you're
emotional.
showing them houses. I mean, you're really getting involved in their life.
No, it's true. It's true. It's insane.
I was not expecting that.
I know. When you looked around, I was like,
I thought
who's
he was
behind you?
I
Yeah.
thought he was going to say, I don't know who you are.
He's like, I think that's my baby. And you're like, it's not. I'm here to tell you it's not my baby.
Well, he was like, I know. It's crazy that she thinks that, right? I mean,
and you're pregnant too. Like, how much of a sign is that? Like,
I was
unless she thinks
married. I mean, who knows? But who knows?
I've also worked with you. You are not the type of agent that's like, hi.
No.
Like, you're like, hey, how's it going? Okay. Like, you get down to brass tacks. Like, it is insane.
This was like a very legal transaction. We had a water leak.
And
it was
he's an
insurance.
attorney, and you're like dealing with the assistant. Like, get out of here.
Yes.
Anyway. Wow. Well,
or at least they're still happily married. Or maybe just say married.
Guess
happily.
what? They're going to galas together. So maybe.
They're
together.
Oh, we're going to have to, I need to find out.
I did hear through the grapevine that he fell asleep with the bathtub on in one of their giant houses.
And flooded it?
The whole thing.
It's like, well, he didn't
alive?
drown. Yeah. You're like, she's like, I saw a photo recently of a gal. He must be still alive, but he flooded the whole house.
Yes. No, he fell asleep on the bed.
Oh,
with the bathtub, right?
Yeah, like somebody that was me that somebody.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
He like turned that. Also a lesson: don't turn on any faucets at any listing,
and just leave it alone while you're like going to take a nap.
That just happened with an inspection company that we all know very well. Went into one of my. It wasn't mine. It was somebody else.
That happened to
us recently.
Yes, went in.
She wasn't the agent on that one, was she?
No,
where it was like leaking through the ceiling. And
it
stuff?
was, but it was in Carmel. Was it in Carmel Valley?
No, it was here in La Jolla, and it was historic.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, leaking right down the ceiling. All of a sudden, water's dripping down.
And it was
like,
the
left the
inspector
shower on.
Yeah,
same.
And
They
walked
left
away.
They left the bathtub on. Bathtub went left
insane.
on.
It's insane. Anyway,
I wonder how often that happens then.
A lot. I'm sure more often than we would like to.
We'll have to talk about off the record.
We actually want our inspector that I use all the time to come on because I love him and he's so diligent and careful. But like he's seen some shit, so I want him to come on too.
Oh,
but
he could for sure tell you some crazy stuff.
Some crazy stories.
Yeah.
So anyway. Behind the Lockbox is sponsored by Property Showcase Group. Property Showcase Group has a team of creatives, directors, producers, editors, marketing specialists, and designers that work in tandem to tell and share stories of the built environment. Whether you're looking for full-service production or simply just in content creation, Property Showcase Group can help take your business to the next level. To learn more or to contact Property Showcase Group to schedule a consultation, you can find them at propertyshowcasegroup.com. That's spelled PROPERTYSHOWCASEGROUP.com. PropertyShowcaseGroup.com. Well,
yes.
I don't know how you're going to beat that, but I know you have one more.
I do. I have.
Was that a 10-minute mark? No. Okay. I caught my producer's eye, and I'm like, "What? Are we there yet?" Valerie has to go pick up her kids, so we're like, chop.
We gotta go. We got kids.
I'm kicking her out at 2:15. Yeah,
inspections.
exactly. Anyway,
the other one I have, which is kind of, I mean, we could be here all day.
Oh, you're gonna have to come back.
So I take my really good friends to go. They had a couple of extra kids.
Okay.
You know how that works, right?
Like friends.
Find them a house and then they have more kids. And you're like,
Yeah,
oh my God,
yeah.
I have to find
You're like, you got more kids. Where did these
to
kids come
remodel
from?
a house?
This is gonna be you.
Sounds like my life.
Yeah.
Yes, it happens. I mean, good thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I need to find him a new house. So I take him out. They have 4 children.
Okay.
It's hard to find like a 4 or 5 bedroom house in La Jolla. We looked in Bay Park. This was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So we're looking, we're just not finding the right place. So one comes on the market, and on the confidential remarks, it says peaceful death in September. This was like January that we went in.
Okay.
So I thought, you know
I
what?
just had one of those.
Yeah, they're not, I wasn't going to withhold the information, but I wanted them to go in and feel it first, and then for us to decide, is this impactful?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we roll up to the house, little old, little dated, still seems okay. So I go in, I unlock it.
What part of town is this in?
This is in Bay Park.
Okay.
This is like off of Moraga,
Oh yeah. No,
right?
I
Bay
used to
Park,
live over there. Yeah.
off of Moraga. So good friends of mine.
Okay.
I've known these people for years and years.
Okay.
So we walk in the door, And you know me, I'm chit-chatting him up about whatever, flipping on lights. And as we enter in, you enter in, and then you enter into the living room. As we enter into the living room, he stops.
The husband?
The husband. And he says, did somebody die here? And I said, somebody did die here. And you know what he said to me?
No.
Dude's in the corner.
No.
He said that the man.
I just got chills.
I know. And his wife was like, what? He's never been able to do anything like that before. And so he said,
and you did not tell that. You were like, I want them to feel it first. And then, of course, I'll say, hey, look, you like it, but someone did die here.
Yes,
of course, we have to disclose it.
Always.
You're always going to tell them. And there's disclosures for this anyway.
But we had such a hard time finding places.
I wanted them to see this. The one that I sold, we found out later because the seller ended up telling us after the fact. Like, we were in escrow, but he was like, oh, by the way, the tenant did die there. And the listing agent's like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, it was just like a couple months ago. And I'm like, so she calls me. She's like, hi, are you sitting down? And I'm like, but again, same thing. My clients had already fallen in love with it.
They were okay with it.
So they were like, she's like, my dad died peacefully in the home. I'm good with it. I didn't feel anything when we were there. Did you? I said no. And like, we were cool,
Yeah.
For him to, and by the way, he's in the corner.
He said he's in the corner. It was like, he said he's sitting on something in the corner. This house was vacant. There was nothing in the house. He's sitting on like a bed or something.
Had he ever been able to see anything before?
Never before.
By the way, I can hear the seagulls in my headphones because the windows are open. Do you hear it? Is that the guy that died in the corner? He's like hearing us talk about it. He came back as a seagull.
Sorry, he could see it. Like, did it go away?
He said that his head was down, and when we walked in, he like looked up, but he said he wasn't. He said he wasn't. So of course, I freaked out. Not that I'm afraid, but I was like, oh my God, holy shit. Like,
I'd be like, okay, we can go now. Like,
and I was like, don't leave me.
Did he
like,
feel
I want to turn the light.
threatened?
No, he did not feel threatened. But I said, do you want to go? And he's like, yeah, let's go. So we didn't even look around the rest of the house. So we turned off the lights as I'm like clinging to my two clients. I'm like, please don't leave me. And so we went out and obviously discussed it outside. And he said he wasn't threatening, but he was there. He was still there. Older man. He said, looks sick. Oh. I was sitting on
He wasn't ready to go and completely cross over yet.
Apparently.
Yeah. Are you spiritual like
yes,
that?
I am.
Same. So are we. And there's definitely, I think, when people aren't ready to go, like I've seen a medium before. It takes time. And sometimes there's, like they say, there's different planes and there's different, if they haven't fully crossed over, or he did, and that was just his home and he wasn't really ready to leave it yet.
And maybe, spirit was strong enough to still be seen.
Yeah, 100%.
He was around
too, that he had never seen stuff like that before, and this happened. I wonder what that means.
His mom apparently
is intuitive,
can do a lot of that.
So he has
but his wife.
They do say it's genetic.
Yeah,
people are going to think I'm crazy, but
it's true.
Yeah,
both my cousins can see stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, but now I do have a couple of clients where not him. Mm-hmm. As we left, they're still my very good friends. They bought a brand new house.
They're like, after that, they're like, you know what? Let's go to Carmel Valley. I saw some new builds.
Yes.
Not on an ancient burial ground.
Yes.
We're good.
They were like, let's buy a brand new house. They bought a brand new house.
Nothing's ever been here. Cool.
Exactly.
No one's ever lived here. Great.
How many kids do they have now?
They still have 4.
Oh,
They still have 4.
7.
But I'm sorry. No, they have 5. They adopted her nephew.
Oh, how cool. That's really cool.
Yes.
That's
he's
amazing.
older, but they adopted him.
That's cool.
So they do. And they live in one of those giant houses in Carmel Valley.
I was right. Carmel. There are no more new builds anywhere.
No.
So of course it's Carmel Valley, but
giant house.
Oh
yes.
Gosh.
That was nuts.
Yes. So we discussed it after when we got out, and the wife was like less phased that there was a spirit inside the house. And she was more like, oh my gosh, can you do this? Like, what's happening?
She was more like, you have a gift now. It's coming through.
Yes.
Like, tell me more.
Yes.
And he's like, look, I don't know. This has never happened.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's really crazy. I've never seen anything. I've felt presence, but I haven't ever seen anything. I don't really want to invite that in,
No, you don't want to invite it in. But sometimes when you walk into houses, I mean,
you can feel
spirits.
Oh, yeah.
You just are like, this house has a weird vibe.
Yes. And even especially, again, we have so many older houses, especially here in La Jolla. Like, we had a listing over, I think I can say the name, can't I? Of the street name? Anyway, it was over in the Village, and it was the first hospital in La Jolla.
Oh.
By Ellen Browning Scripps, but it was a sanitary mental hospital.
Oh.
And our fearless leader sent me in at dusk one night and was like, just go check it out. I took 3 steps in and I was like, bye. Nope, I'm good. Yeah. Walked right back out. And then I've told this story so many times on this podcast, but like my photographer saw stuff while we were there. And then like he called my name and I came around the corner and there was like a woman upstairs. And then he looked back up and she was gone.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know. And he didn't tell me that till after because he didn't want me. I had to go there to do showings by myself.
We also didn't know it was a mental hospital until way later.
No. I knew.
I mean, like the first time you went in, you didn't know.
No, yeah. And then it was like within the first couple of weeks, like we started getting like, you know, the seller sent us all the like clippings of like the old, you know, from 1929. And it was like first sanatorium. And I'm Googling with that. And I'm like, that's a mental hospital. And like, there was like all these different doors with these little tiny bathrooms. And no. Thank you. Anyway.
So the house next door to me.
Right now?
Yes. On Waverly. Well, I don't know if it's haunted. It's disgusting. You know the house, don't you? It's so gross. It's on Waverly.
Must.
Anyway, so the guy that lives there.
I mean, I sold one on Waverly back in the day or a couple years ago, but it's being completely redone. You're on the other side.
I'm on the other side.
You're on the other side. Yeah.
So he used to have it as a hospice back in the day, but nobody has actually lived in the house since the early 90s because he got shut down by the health department. It is sitting there.
It has been vacant since the 90s.
There's a hole in the ceiling. There's weeds growing out of
the roof.
All of the rain gutters. There's no fencing around it. He has 2 old cars in the driveway. Anybody listening to the podcast want to come buy it, please do. So I asked him,
let me sell this for you.
Oh, all the time, but he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he's not selling it.
Yeah.
So
where does he live?
He lives in Scripps Ranch.
And he just leaves it there?
Just leaves it there. There's dead rats inside the car.
Oh, hell no.
Yes.
In the car?
In the car.
Also, this is right next to your house. This can invite other things in.
Beyond. You have no idea.
And like your property values. Like
you should drive by. My bushes go all the way, like almost
the ficus road bushes.
They
You're
do.
like, I'm not
doing
this.
I grew them the minute that I moved in. Yes. But he told me that people go there. Like they would take them to the hospital and then they would say, I want to go home to die. So they would come home to die in this place, which I don't really feel anything. The house
does your ficus like draw a good line so that the spirits don't cross the ficus, basically? Okay.
But so he recently had it listed. And so I asked the agent.
With you?
Not with me. No, it's okay.
It's not okay. Rude.
Yeah,
anyway.
Okay. With a commercial agent. No offense to commercial. We don't know them. But I asked him, has anybody died there? And he goes, not in the last 3 years.
Oh,
that's
one way to put it.
I was like,
so yes.
I was like, I know that people have died there. He's like, well, I don't have any knowledge of that. I was like, well,
I'm telling you.
So I took a client to walk by because I just said, look, this is a 6,700 square foot lot in Bird Rock,
right?
That you could pick up. You could build an amazing house here, right? And I didn't say anything to her either. Right. And she felt it. We call it ooey ooey in our family. And she was like, somebody and maybe more than one person has died in this place. We didn't even go in.
By the way, we're talking about haunted things and the seagulls are going nuts outside. So I know. Like someone came back as a seagull. I know. They're here. I don't like it. We need to change the subject. Anyway, do not invite them into my house, please.
No Ouija boards.
No
Ouija boards.
No, I will never play that.
Why are you looking at me? I've done it once.
Maxwell, twice. Lori is not going to be happy to hear that, by the way.
I mean, it was like I was in 5th grade.
Well, maybe it wasn't a good idea to do that. I don't know. Okay, we got our 10-minute mark. You want to play a game?
Okay, let's play a game.
Okay. It's called Punch List because we're going to hit you with 3 questions. Okay. So just first things that come to mind.
Okay. What's the craziest or pettiest thing that's ever killed or almost killed one of your deals?
What is that noise?
It's my alarm to pick my kids up from school. Where's my phone? It's underneath me.
It's under your chair. Max, crawl down there and get it. First of all, it's your son calling. Mom, where are you? I'm 10 minutes away.
I'm at Busy Bee.
I'm at Busy Bee.
I'm at Busy Bee. Just walking down the hill.
We literally just crawled under the camera. No one could see. I wonder if that camera caught it. I hope that camera caught you like just under her chair a little bit. He got your phone for you though. Or he turned it off.
Thank you.
Take again.
Okay.
Sorry.
What's the craziest or pettiest thing that's ever killed or almost killed one of your deals?
The pettiest thing is that somebody told me that there wasn't enough space for her to put her shoes in this like 4,500 square foot house. She didn't no. That's why they canceled. Canceled. after the due diligence period was over.
Did they lose their deposit?
They lost their deposit.
Well, that deposit could have bought them
new
whole
shoes.
closet.
$350,000 deposit they lost. Yes.
Do you know how many shoes that could have bought?
A lot.
Damn.
Could have built her a shoe closet.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. She could have done an addition and had a Carrie Bradshaw closet. She was not so smart.
Guess what house it was?
What?
The one where
No!
naked. I could tell you 100 stories about this.
How many times have you sold that house?
2.
Wow.
But because
Almost
I was
3, but
involved
canceled.
with it for so long.
So
and then,
long.
yes. It
Yeah.
was 3.
It
but
was your
got
career
canceled.
listing. Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way, those people had an escrow twice that finally
Oh
canceled
my
because of the shoes. But anyway, we're suckers.
She could have put them all in the basement.
Oh my God.
Or the grotto thing.
Empty the grotto.
Yes. Could have been a
Yes.
shoe thing.
No imagination.
Instead of the wine cellar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rude.
Or it could have been
Anyway.
wine and shoes. Okay. What's your biggest pet peeve?
In life or in real estate.
God, how much time do we have?
I feel the same. I know.
People that say nether instead of another. They say
I've never
Great one.
noticed that.
it's
Or supposedly.
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 It's
I'm like, wait, do I say
it's
these? I think you do.
another like, and then he went over to another. People will say, and then
He went to another.
He went nether.
Nether?
Or, yeah. It just watch.
I love you so much. That is
Yeah, no,
amazing.
Another.
on
My
that.
brother and I, so there was a radio DJ back in Phoenix that used to like purposely like mess up his words. And instead of saying lo and behold, he says Lord and behold. So my brother and I are always like, Lord and behold. Like, and my mom, people will be like, I'm like, I know I'm just kidding. But yeah. Same with like spelling when it comes to like there and your and, you know, those things. Like,
Yeah.
Get it right.
Growing up, they had Dawn. I'm a little older than you guys. They had
Not by much with me.
they had Dawn dish soap, and the commercial said, "Put it on a damp sponge." Right? That
Yeah,
was like it.
yeah.
But I always thought they said a damn sponge.
You're like,
Put it on the
Mom,
damn
put the
sponge.
Put the Dawn dish soap on the damn sponge. She's like, damp. You're like, that's not what it said. I don't think
I
so.
think it's a damn sponge.
That's hysterical.
Yes.
Is that the name of the episode? Damn
Damn
sponge.
sponge.
Yeah.
If you could be anything other than a real estate agent, what would you be and why?
I'm so interested in this one for you.
I would either be like a professional organizer.
Oh, I
Like
can see that.
I get my jollies off of that.
I could see
Don't
that.
Over to my house, please.
don't like think that my house is like totally organized or anything.
No, but I do
Way
too.
too many
I
kids.
love
I
it.
love it.
I don't
Like,
like clutter.
no.
I purge like every 6 months.
Yes.
Like if I haven't worn it, it's gone. Like it's my favorite thing.
Yes.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
love that. The other thing I would do is I have my human development is what my degree's in.
Mm-hmm.
I would be some kind of like a life coach or
Oh, I like
something.
that. That'd
Yeah.
be really cool. I could see
like
you
that.
doing
I
Pretty
feel
much
like
are that in real estate.
I mean,
I
it's
know.
true. It's true.
95%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
pretty
it's so
much.
true.
But you know, I feel like people come into my life when they're in a spot where they find me.
I like that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's way too emotionally
Life
involved.
coach
I just
Valerie.
stayed in
I mean, it's
real
true.
estate.
Yeah, this is emotional enough as it is.
It's so emotional. It is.
God. Some days I'm like, what did we get ourselves into?
Yes.
Anyway,
Oh,
but
but I
it's
just
fun.
got a new listing.
Where is it? Can you
Yes.
say? Plug it.
It's in PB. I
Okay.
don't have it signed yet. It's
Okay.
coming.
Okay.
But it's a divorce situation. The wife calls me.
The wife of the guy that she thought you were having an affair with.
She will never.
I believe you now.
Yeah, she will never. She will be
never
like,
call me.
she'll be like, you'll never get your hands on my money. You're like, that's not what
Actually,
okay.
funny, that lady would have her son, who was the same age as me, call me for anything on the house. He was also married. She would be like, that's who would call me, is that woman's son. Yes.
for his stepdad.
Yes. But anyway, yes, I was just going to say it's very emotional. These people are getting divorced. The wife told me the whole entire story. Restraining orders. I was like,
wow.
it's a good listing though.
Keep me posted.
I'll
No,
take
let us
it.
know.
Keep me
I'll
posted.
take
Hell
it.
yeah.
I'll take the abuse.
Take any, yeah, exactly.
I'm like, that's
some of
fine.
the stuff we've put up with is wild, but anyway.
Yeah, listen, that's why we do it, because every deal is different.
And we're sick and we like the game, you know?
Kind of. Yeah.
Kind of. Yes.
Yes.
A little bit. Anyway, thank you so much for
Yes,
being
this is so
here.
fun.
Love you, love you, love
You
you.
have to like sage your house after the.
I mean, the seagulls,
seagulls.
like,
They're gone.
is it or who knows? Like the seagull name. Every time I them, they're like, oh, there's naked and bloody.
Only maybe they're on their road.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, sad. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. We love you.
Yeah, that's
All right,
fun.
guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Behind the Lockbox is produced and edited by Property Showcase Group. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Thanks for your support. See you next week.